Hello, everyone. This is the example that I indicated in the last video for chapter 11. So I am going to go over an example to make sure you have an idea of what it would look like adding new classes inside of your main form class. So the first example that we have inside of Canvas includes several different classes that you add over here in the Solution Explorer pane. But what we're going to do is look at it from a standpoint of adding classes inside of your main form. So the example here is for student faculty ratio, which is on page 567, number 23. So if you have your textbook and you want to go and read the instructions to just kind of see what the program was asking for, it'll give you a better idea as you watch or listen to this particular video. Okay, so if you see here, we have form college, which is your main form. And you are used to seeing this throughout all of your programs. So this one is your main form. So now you're looking at college as an added class inside of this form. Notice how the indentation as you're looking at the layout for the Solution Explorer. And if I collapse here, you'll see what a college class entails. So the college class entails a name, the number of students, number of faculty, and then it has the data type. So these would be your member variables, your instance variables, okay? And here you're indicating where what will be assigned. So name as strings, num student as double, num faculty as double. So that will be you getting ready to instantiate and store values. SF ratio with the parentheses, this is the procedure or method that's listed there. So now you see here what that particular class entails. Now, you would not create it here on the right-hand side. You would actually double-click your form per usual, and this is where the coding would take place, okay? So this is your main form, class here, your form college, right? So now this entails what you would do on your form. And so your event here is clicking the compute button. So this is what you want to happen once the button is clicked, okay? Here, this is your form load. If you guys recall in way back in previous chapters, whatever you want, sometimes you can write code here as to what you want to happen when the form loads. In this instance, there is empty, so there's nothing here that we want to include. And then we have in class, which means that's the end of your form college class. All right. So remember I indicated in the last video, you cannot create a class within a class. So what that means is you wouldn't move class college inside of here. All right. You would have to end your form college class first. All right. Okay, so inside of here, we are creating an object of, well, you know what? Let's get the part first. We'll come back. Okay. We'll come back to that part. I think you'll understand it better when we return. Okay. So now what we're going to do is create a class. So we indicated in the lecture video that whenever you're creating a new class or a new, in any instance, it would be an object. So in this case, college is our object. This is the class that we're creating. Now we have to indicate the type of variables, the type of data that we'll collect pertaining to this particular class. In this instance, as mentioned, we're going to have name, all right? And then we're going to have the number of students and the number of faculty, okay? Now you have to indicate, so notice class here begins here, and notice that it ends here. So everything that's inside, all of these code snippets are part of this particular class. So anytime you're creating a new class here, you have to begin it and you have to end it and you have to indicate what will be included. All right, so this here is our property here, write only. If you guys recall, write only means we're gonna write to it. We're gonna set a value. Is read only, we're gonna get. So remember the difference between set and get, okay? So property name here is going to be write only. So we're gonna set that value. In here, we're using set and whatever value you're wanting to store in this instance, that's what you're going to be passing. And you'll see that in the future where we're able to determine what will be what, okay? So now M name here will hold value, which is what you'll be passing. That's what you're setting. All right, and that's the end of your set. This is your write only property for name, whatever name you're retrieving. And this would be the name of the college pretty much, okay? And then you have a write only property, number of students. So now you're just indicating how many students. And then it's set as a double, whatever that value is that you're passing, wherever you're setting, that's what you're storing. Now notice set is a procedure. So that means you're gonna pass a value here of type double, and whatever that value is, it will be stored here and you're assigning it to M student, okay? That's what's happening. And then that's the end of that property. So notice how this one begins, ends here, begins, ends here, okay? And then write only again for your number of faculty. So now, however many number of faculty is at that institution, same process. But you also have a function procedure that you're incorporating to calculate the student to faculty ratio. So this is a function procedure. So that means it's going to return a value. So here, we have function procedure, and then we have the name of it. This is the name of the procedure, the type that would be returned, and then you're setting up your calculation. So number of students divided by number of faculty. Whatever this result is, that's the value that will be returned when this particular procedure is invoked. Okay? So now we have this class. Now we want to use it. And what we're going to do is incorporate it here inside of our main form. So in order for us to use it, because remember, this is a user-defined class. This is something that you would have been created. So we're creating an object here of college. So this is the college class that we created. Now school is going to be the class object that represents college in this case. So inside of your button, whenever you're getting ready to click your button, now you're going to instantiate here. So now school is an object that includes everything that you've created inside of college. So if you want name of the school, number of faculty, number of students, and the procedure, all that is now included in this object. So I use the name of the object, right, which is school, my dot operator, and name. So now I want to assign a name. So this is the school that will be set. So school dot name, right? What that means, this is a write only property. So when you have a name here, you are actually accessing this name here, all right? And you're setting that value. So when you call it, it's setting the value to University of Maryland. Now M name holds University of Maryland, all right? So you're just writing here, write only. And then when you get here, num students, the same thing. It's 40,521 using num students. It's setting the value, assigning the value here. Okay. Same thing, number of faculty, 44,610 is writing to it, setting the value. All right. For num students. Number of faculty. So you're setting that value. And then text ratio dot text. Remember, we have a text box here where we're wanting to display something. So only thing we have here, we have a couple control objects. We have a button here and we have a text box. So what we're wanting to do is display whatever the student to faculty ratio is. So now text ratio is accessing that text box, and it's going to assign this value. It's going to display this value. Okay. So school.sf ratio, which is down here. This is the ratio here. That's that procedure. Notice what it's doing. So the values, M students, which was passed here, whatever was assigned here, M faculty, whatever value was passed and written there, you're taking those two numbers and you're dividing them, and then it's going to return that result. So when it comes here, it returns that result, whatever that result is, and then it's going to print it to the as a number. And notice one here, which indicates a decimal. So you just have a number, but you're going to have a one decimal place here. That's your format. Okay. That's basically all this program is doing. So let's go ahead and attempt to um, start it and debug it. Hopefully it's not too slow, but just indicating those procedures were right only for number of students, number of faculty. It was right only. So you won't be retrieving any input or anything from the user. Okay. It's just right only. You're assigning the value. If you wanted to read only, you would get information from the user and then assign it. Indeed, so that means you would use a get procedure. Okay. Okay, we'll click the button, compute SF, and now it's displaying 8.8. And you'll notice in the textbook, it's telling you what the result should be, and it's 8.8. Okay. So basically, you have, in this case, created a class that consisted of these member variables and these write only properties here, and then a function procedure that would return a value. So I wanted to go through an example so that you can see what the coding segment would look like when you're adding a class inside of your form. Okay. So hopefully this will help you in creating your own. You can decide if you want to create the class inside of where your form is, or like the first example where you have multiple classes that you add to the program here on the right hand side. So it's up to you. So good luck with chapter 11. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll see you in the next video.